Yes, good afternoon everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel and welcome to my 2025-2026 Enterprise National League prediction video. So yes, we are about a week away from the season starting next Saturday. Very much looking forward to it, very intrigued to see how this pans out. It's been a very exciting day actually. Liverpool have released our new kits. I've ordered mine. Should be coming within the next couple of days. We've bidded for Alexander Isak, which has been very first rejected, but who knows what's going to happen with that. I don't think we'll get him, but you never know. But on to the National League then. Obviously, last season, Barnet won the title with Oldham winning the playoffs, beating Southend. I think it was 3-2 at Wembley. I'm pretty sure anyway. Gateshead obviously finished 8th, and we lost Maidenhead United, Dagenham and Redbridge, Ebbsfleet United, and one more, and I can't genuinely think who it was. Who was it? Anyway, so on to this season. I'm going to talk about a little bit of here and there, teams as incomings and their departures, a bit backgrounds and a manager and their ground, and who I think is their star to watch this season. But first and foremost, we'll get the elephant in the room out of the way, and inevitably finishing bottom of the National League table is straight away I'm putting Morecambe. I feel absolutely terrible for Morecambe Football Club. They are just in a mess, and it's really, really sad to see. Their first 3 games have already been postponed. If they get their season started, I don't even think they'll get any points. I mean, I think they've got 10 contracted players who haven't been paid, so they can look for other clubs, to be honest. And I really do think the door is closing on Morecambe Football Club, which is not nice to see. So I thought I will include them in it, but I think it's going to be a 23-team league. So, who have I got finishing what I would now consider, if Morecambe do completely fold and fall out the league, who do I think will finish necessarily bottom? And I've gone for Wealdstone, and I think Wealdstone are a team who have always been in and around the bottom 4. This is now for several seasons. So, last season, I remember they were around about for a good, solid amount of time. I think they survived on the final day of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, their manager is Sam Cox, obviously played at Grosvenor Vale, and they've only really signed 2 people so far this window, and obviously it is now the 1st of August. They've brought in midfielder Dylan Kadji from Weston-super-Mare and 24-year-old midfielder Omar Musa. They've lost Josh Grant to fellow National League side Carlisle United. For Wealdstone, I do think they're really going to struggle this year. Obviously, we did the double over them last year, but I don't think they're anywhere near as what they were a couple of seasons ago, and I think this is the season that they will unfortunately drop. They could shock some people. Sam Cox could provide a shock for the Stones, but I do think they're going to be in and around there for a long period of time and eventually fall off, and I do think they will be relegated at the end of this season, this upcoming season. 22nd, now this could see a bit of backlash. I've gone for Braintree Town. Braintree obviously had a very solid season last year. So they finished 17th. But I think this season could be a lot more tough for manager Stephen Pitt and his players. I also believe, and I think this is going to be a theme for a lot of clubs this season, they're going to really heavily rely on their home form. So I think Crescent Road needs to become a fortress for Braintree. If they are to survive this season, I think it could be really, really tight Maybe this one I could see going down to the last couple of weeks of the season, but also not anywhere near survival, unfortunately. The starter watch for Braintree, I would say, is their brand new signing from Woking, which is Lewis Walker. I think that's a cracking signing, actually, for Braintree Town. They've also welcomed Freddie Hockey, who's joined from National League South side Chelmsford City, and Fletcher Hubbard, who's joined from Brightlingsea Region. They've only really lost one player, but it's a notable departure, and that is Jamal Fifield, obviously former Gateshead player, and bags of experience. Great centre-back as well, in my opinion. So yeah, Braintree in and around there, and I think they will fall. 21st, I've gone for New Boys, Brackley Town. So the reason why I've gone for Brackley isn't because it's their first season in the division. How many times in the last couple of years have Brackley been on the cusp of the National League and fallen just at the point? Or like losing playoffs or losing playoff finals, for example. So I think it could be one where we all know how physical the National League is, for one. Gavin Cowan's going to have to train his players for everything. Away games are going to be crucial. Who's Brackley's starter watch this season? I've gone for Scott Pollock. Obviously, a lot of young kids will know him from his days with #United, the YouTube sensation side. But for Brackley, I think that is a great player. And they've had quite a shuffle with incomings. They've brought in Kyle Morrison from Kidderminster Harriers. I think that's a great sign. Ryan Haynes from EFL side Cheltenham Town. Danny Waldron has joined from Southend. Jack Price has came in bringing MLS experience. He was formerly at Colorado Rapids. Cameron Gregory from Boston United. And Michael Nottingham from Scottish side Livingston. And to be honest, they've only lost two people, really, in Alfie Bates and Tommy O'Sullivan. So I think for Brackley, it could be the case of not getting injuries and getting good grinding results. I'm hoping not against Gateshead, but, you know, we all know what we're like. So, yeah, I've gone with Brackley to be the final team to go down. So who have I got just avoiding the drop? National League New Boys, Truro City. I've gone for in 20th. Obviously, the National League South reigning champions. And this is one thing I can see Truro struggling with, and that is travel prices with the league. I think they are really, really going to struggle with long trips, like especially up to Gateshead, up to Hartlepool, up to York, Carlisle. All of them teams, I think they are going to really struggle. But I do think they will pick big wins up at the Truro Sports Hub. And to be totally honest with you, I could see it being them beating York, beating Hartlepool, or beating Gateshead. I am excited to see how Truro get on. I do have a little bit of a soft spot for them. I don't know why. But yeah, John Askey is a very experienced manager. We know that from past seasons. And I'm sure he'll do a good enough job to keep Truro in the league for a second season at the start of 2026. Oh, well, August 2026. Jesus. Their starter watch for me, I've gone for new boy. Well, he's just rejoined the club, actually, and that's Luke Jeffcott. Good striker, and I think he'll be key with goals. Truro have also brought in Harry Kite on a 2-year deal. Laraka Sani, former Gateshead player, who knows the National League. He joined from Torquay United. Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain has been brought in for Truro. Max Kinsley has joined on loan from Premier League Bournemouth. I think that's a great addition. And they've also signed someone, bearing in mind I did this yesterday, so it's actually not on that list, but Truro fans will know exactly who that is. The departures, they've only lost one player again, and that's Jays Cabia, who's left to Grimsby Town. So, yeah, not really fussed about that. And I think Truro will do well, to be honest. So, yeah, on to 19th. this may come as a shock to a lot of people. And I've gone with Boston United. Now, I think everyone is jumping the gun, saying Boston are going to be unbelievable this season. And they could be. They very much well could be. However, they've had a complete rebuild this summer. They stunned everybody last season with their fantastic football and the miracle escape from the bottom four to survive. I do think it's going to be another tough season, though, for Boston manager Graham Coughlin. And I think it'll be key to get points on the board early doors for the Pilgrims. Will it be as comfortable? Don't think so. I think it's one of them where Boston will do well if they get results early, like I put. And personally, I think their starter watch this season is Jacob Hazel. A great striker. I know a few National League clubs were in for him and some EFL clubs as well. And like I said, with the reshuffle, I'll quickly run through them. Boston have brought in Reece Lovett to replace Cameron Gregory. Jordan Cropper has come from Barnet. That is a fantastic signing for Boston. That's brilliant. Ben Grist has came from Leicester. Liam Waldock from Alfreton. Michael Kelly, Jacob Scott, Bobby Jones from Curzon Ashton, Manny Norquette, Linnell John Lewis from York is a fucking fantastic signing. Excuse the French. But that is a brilliant signing. A lot of experience from someone who knows EFL football off by heart. Kieran Donnelly, Alex Langshire from Blackpool is another brilliant signing. Arjun Reiki and Rocco Coyle. Brilliant for Boston. They've had a clean out as well for departures, which their big miss is going to be Keaton Ward. They've also lost Adam Marriott, Cameron Gregory, Mitchell Roberts, Michael Boswick, Cameron Green, Kieran Coates and Tom Leaks. So yeah, Boston, I think, will be alright. They'll survive comfortably. I don't think they'll be anywhere near the bottom four by a solid amount of time. 18th place in the National League this season, and I've gone for new boys once again, Boreham Wood. So obviously back in the league after a year away. They won the playoffs with a 1-0 win over Maidstone United. Luke Garrod, their boss, knows the National League inside out. He's been here where he nearly had Boreham Wood he's been in the playoff final with Boreham Wood. He's been relegated with Boreham Wood. He's been in playoff semi-finals. He's done everything with the club, and I think that's why Boreham Wood love him as well. And I think they'll do decently and be comfortably away from that bottom four. Who is their starter watch this season if he doesn't leave? Because I know there's been a couple of links. I've gone for the Portuguese man, Eric Sousa. I think he's a great player. And every time I've seen him at Gateshead, he's always impressed me. So, yeah, who have Boreham Wood brought in then? Junior Dixon from Birmingham City. Aaron Henry from Charlton Athletic. Jeff King on loan from York is a brilliant signing. And Luke Norris from Tranmere Rovers. Joe Newton, also from Solihull, is a good addition. And then departures, they've lost Kwesi Apaya, Tyrone Marsh, Jaden Richardson, Josh Hare, Joseph Yarney, and David Agbontahoma, who's joined Maidstone. So, Boreham Wood comfortably away from that. And I think we'll finish 18th. 17th is another team who I think genuinely could see doing a lot better. And people will probably disagree with where I've put them. And that's Aldershot Town. Obviously just coming off the back of winning the FA Trophy. So they'll be looking for a good season. But I think they'll struggle with injuries. And I'm not just saying this as a joke, because Gateshead fans have a little bit of a thing with Aldershot fans after what happened a couple of years ago. But I do think there's always one team or a couple of teams that get hit with massive injury crisis in the National League. Last season was us. There's no doubt about that. This season, I could genuinely see being Aldershot. Their starter watch, Josh Barrett. I'm surprised he hasn't actually had an offer from EFL, really, because I think he's a really good player. And to be honest, they haven't really replaced a lot of people, apart from maybe what I would say is one really good signing. So they brought in Josh Brooken from Dorking Wanderers, Kiban Rai from Newport County, Kwame Thomas from Ebbsfleet United, Jed Mayholtz on loan from Bristol City, which I think is a great signing, Tristan Abrahams from Maidenhead United and James Claridge on loan from Watford. But their big signing for me for Aldershot is Ryan Hill, who joins from Dagenham and Redbridge. Obviously, Dagenham fell off the brick and are now in the south. I do expect them to actually bounce straight back up, in all fairness. And yeah, I've got a good one for Ryan Hill to join Aldershot. Departures, nothing big apart from Aaron Jones to Sutton, Oliver Bray. Jordy van Stoppershoef has left Lachlan Bird. But the big departure for Aldershot is Jack Barham, who's dropped to the National League South with Chelmsford City. Very, very odd one, that. But you know what? It happens. 16th, and this one probably will get a lot of slate. I've gone for Halifax. I just don't think Halifax are going to do well this season at all, and I don't know what it is. I do think it'll also be one where they're going to have to rely on no injuries and will rely on big, big results. I do think there's a chance they will just shock me and pull it out the bag and be near the playoffs, as they always seem to be. But I think it's going to be a really tough season for Halifax. Their starter watch, Florent Hotty, great player. And incomings that haven't really strengthened their squad. Cody Johnson's joined from Stockport County. Dylan Krause joined from Kings Lynn. Will Hugels joined from Burnley. Former Gateshead forward Will Harris has joined from Spennymoor Town. I think that's a very odd signing, considering I don't think Will Harris was a great player at Gateshead. But fair enough. And Josh Harmani has joined as what I would say is the biggest signing so far from Kings Lynn in the north. And they've only lost 3 players, but are 3 massive players. They've lost Jack Evans to Harrogate, and then the double, which is Adam Senior and Ryan Galvin to Barnet, which I think are massive losses for Halifax Town. So, onto the top 15, and I'm going to be quite brutal and quite blank. 15th, I've gone with Gateshead. I do think that it is the end of the golden era, but a stable season is, in my estimation, for the Heed. I do think we'll struggle for large parts of this season, but I think we'll be that team who grind and scrape some big wins off tough teams, like the top 6, I reckon. Yeovil, maybe up there. Scunthorpe could be up there. Carlisle might nick something off. Rochdale, I would like to think, maybe at home, not necessarily away, but who knows. We've had a complete rebuild through the summer. We've had a complete clear out, a rebuild. And to be honest, a week away from the season, 1 friendly to go tomorrow with Darlington, I am very much looking forward to the National League season now. Obviously, we're now under Alan Armstrong, and in pre-season, I've been well impressed with his football. Who's my starter watch for the Heed this season? There's a good couple, but I've gone with Kane Adom. Now, I really hope Kane Adom gets to show what he's capable of, because he's shown it in pre-season. He's been excellent. And honestly, he could be a really dangerous player. The viewers will know if they've been watching my pre-season content, but the incomings for Gateshead this season, to all the National League viewers that are watching, I heard David Ferguson's joined from Hartlepool, Callum Johnson's joined from Bradford City, Pete Jameson has joined from Darlington, Lucas Lowry has signed his first professional contract, Carter Milmore has signed his first professional contract, Will Flint's joined on a season-long loan from Doncaster, Dom Telford has joined, Harry Chapman, Josh Holm and Callum Bone. So some great additions. I do think there may be a couple more, but we'll see. But then we get on to possibly the biggest departure list for this summer for any club, I think, in the National League. And they are Greg Ollie to York, Robbie Tinkler to South Shields, Brandon Horton to Scunthorpe United, Jamie Bramwell to Stockton, Aidan Rutledge to Darlington, John Bellahoon to Scunthorpe, Brandon Hounstrop to Totton, Ben Warman to Solihull, Luke Hannon to Oldham Athletic, Charlie Colkett to Free Agency, Harrison Bond released, Ryan Bartley to Maidenhead, Regan Booty to Barrow, and Tim Akinola to Woking. If the list goes on, will there be more? Who knows? Gateshead, I've gone for 15th, a solid season for the Heed. In 14th, I've gone for the now Tim Akinola's side, and that is Woking. I think the Cards will do a lot better than last season, in my opinion, and maybe next year is when they'll be back fighting for playoffs. I don't think this year. I think they'll drop off around about Christmas, New Year time, and they'll struggle to find that momentum again. But it'll be a much more solid season for the Card fans and the Woking faithful. Neil Ardley will do a solid job again. I don't think there's a problem there. And for me, Woken's star to watch is Josh Asude, who's another one who came up from the YouTube sensation #United. Woking have strengthened their side. Obviously, Jack Turner's joined from Queen's Park, Luke Hall from Worksop Town, Aaron Drew from Oxford City, Craig Ross from Maidenhead's a good, experienced goalkeeper, Jake Hyde from Chelmsford City, Chinwiki Okoli from Millwall, and obviously Tim Akinola from Gateshead. They have lost people as well though. Dan Moss, Rowan Ince, Lewis Walker, Matt Robinson, Oliver Webber, Jermaine Anderson, Dion Kelly-Evans has left, and Reese Gregor Cox. So, yeah, an interesting one I definitely think for Woking. 13th, I've gone for Solihull Moors, and it's the exact same, just like Woking. Expect a decent season from Moors. I expect them to be in and around it. Could see them battling for playoffs next year and having a stable mid-table finish with maybe an FA Trophy run. Starter watch for Solihull, I've gone with Dan Creaney, and they have had a complete rebuild and departure lot, bringing in Oscar Rutherford from Dagenham and Redbridge, Dan Creaney, a big one from Tamworth, Tyler French from Sutton, Cameron Green from Boston, Ben Warman from Gateshead, Darius Lipperswish, I think I said that right, on loan from Stoke City, and Rory Brown from Northern Irish side Coleraine. They've lost Josh Labadie, Max Martin, Jordan Tunnicliffe, Aaron Flahavan, Joe Newton, and Tavon Campbell. Oh, no, sorry. Kate Craig, and the big loss for Solihull, I reckon, is Jack Stevens, who's joined Oldham in League 2. So, yeah. Moving on to 12th. And I've gone for Hartlepool United. I think Hartlepool will battle with the top 10 till around February. And then I think they'll drop off and expect a solid season. I think Danny Johnson and Alex Reid will both be key getting goals. And I think home form is, again, another one that could rely on for Hartlepool. The starter watch, I've gone with Alex Reid. I think that is a stupidly good signing. And just shows whoever is behind recruitment at Hartlepool United knows exactly what they're doing. Obviously, I mean, the players they brought in, Jay Ben from Lincoln, Brad Walker from Tranmere, Danny Johnson from Walsall, Cam John from York, Alex Reid from Oldham, Bessar Topolage on loan from Bromley is an unbelievable signing, Matty Daly from Harrogate, and then Josh Donaldson from Newcastle United, who's obviously then gone out on loan to Dunstan. They have lost quite a good amount of good players, though. Gary Medine has departed, Kieran Wallace, Manion Arise, David Ferguson, Daniel Dodds, Joe Gray to York is a big miss for Hartlepool, Luke Waterfall, Billy Sass-Davis, Josh Mashfari, Anthony Mancini, and Manny Di Ceruvue, who is another massive loss for Hartlepool. Solid season. Don't reckon they'll be anywhere in the top 7, top 8, but I do think 12 for them. 11th, and this is one that will definitely cause some stir, and I think people probably can guess, but 11th, I've gone for Forest Green Rovers. New management, new shake-up, but not top 10. I don't think they will be top 10. And this is very odd because some betting have Forest Green in the top 4 to win the league. Now, Robbie Savage is coming into the National League for the very first time. He doesn't know the league. He doesn't know the teams really that well. He could surprise us. Forest Green could surprise us, but I don't genuinely think they will. I think they'll actually struggle and then pick up big points to get to 11th. Their starter watch, Kyle McAllister. I thought he was unbelievable at the stadium last season when I seen him in September. And incomings for Forest Green, they've signed the trio from Macclesfield, Trey Pemberton, Laurent Mendy and Neil Kengy. Luke McNichols from Wrexham, Isaac Moore on loan from Coventry, Jaden Clark from Gillingham, Cairo Mitchell's a great signing from Rochdale, and Abraham Carnu on loan from Reading. and they've lost Emmanuel Osadibe to Barnet, Teddy Jenks, Jordan Garrick, Jamie Searle, and Ben Tozer has called quits on his career. So on to the top 10 then, and we're getting into the exciting bit. I'm trying to speed up a bit as I have been going for now nearly 25 minutes. My goodness. But yeah, Tamworth, I've gone for 10th. Sorry. So a super strong season, maybe fight for playoffs in the early part, but Andy Peakes will be very happy to try to where I think they'll be, and that's 10th. Their starter watch for me is their brand new signing, Stefan Moles, who's joined from Curzon Ashton. And the biggest loss really for Solihull, for Tamworth, is Dan Creaney to Solihull. Also, Menashe Sundira to Torquay United. I think that's a bit of a surprising move. I don't obviously know if he didn't get a contract or anything. If you just want to know, the other incomings for Tamworth are Tyler Fletcher from Fylde, Alfie Bates from Brackley, Joe Riley from Fylde, Ruben Wyatt from Northampton, and Joe Rye on loan from Barnet, and Dan Creaney's gone, Jamie Willett, Alex Fletcher, Kyle Finn, and Kai Williams also with Menashe. 9th, I think they're going to have a very good season. Sutton United, I genuinely think they'll have a tremendous campaign and be fighting all the way to late March, but just slip away before April. I think Sutton need to be a team that push on this year, as I think they were very, very poor last year, and I think they'll do well enough. I'm maybe pushing the banker out and putting them 9th. It could be a bit overzealous, but it's predictions. You never know what could come true at the end of the season. Their starter watch for me is Ashley Nalasan, and they've had a good bringing in and clearing out, a good bringing in, less so a clearing out. Aidan Pruty from Slough, Liam Vincent from Tunbridge, Mohammed Dabra from Tunbridge, Aaron Jones from Aldershot, Jaden White from Hereford, David Ogbonna from Slough, Will Tizard from Queen's Park, Harry Phipps from Dagenham, Cain Critchlow from Chelmsford, and Brandon Njoku from Cambridge United. And they've only really lost Stephen Arnold, Will Davis, Tyler French, and Josh Coley, as well as possibly the biggest one, which is Harry Ranson. So yeah, it'll be interesting for Sutton. I don't think they'll do as shit as what people think they did last season. 8th and just missing out on the playoffs is Eastleigh. The Spyrites almost get playoffs. I think it'll be very, very close. I thought they were excellent last season. I think they were very, very tough when we beat them at the end of August. And we all know how that ended up for Gateshead, but we won't get into last season. We'll leave that in the past forever. I think they'll be a very tough team to break down again this season. And they've signed an absolute ringer who is my starter watch, and that is Kieran Evans. Everyone knows Kieran Evans from when he was at Gateshead. Unbelievable player, I thought. And that is a fantastic signing for Eastleigh. And in all fairness, they've got some absolute ringers and all. Temi Aweka has joined from Maidstone, Nick Townsend from Newport County, Aaron Blair from Maidstone, Archie Harris on loan from Bournemouth, Jordan Cousins from Cambridge, Aaron Pierre from Shrewsbury, Louis Holtzman from Reading, and Sonny Davis on loan from Southampton. Look at all that EFL experience and tell me if that's not good. And they've not really lost many people either. Lee Hodgson, Solomon Nwabokai, Chris Maguire, maybe he's a big one, Corey Panther. Joe McDonnell, the goalkeeper's the biggest, probably to Wimbledon. He's earned that move thoroughly. Jai Semenyo, Maliki Dotsai, and then a club record-breaking transfer for Tyrese Shade to Burton Albion, which I think is absolutely mental. So congratulations to Eastleigh, and I hope they have a good season as well. So who's the first team in the playoffs for me? I've gone for Scunthorpe United. They're back in the National League after a season gone, and I genuinely think they'll be up there from minute 1 to minute last. Callum Roberts, for me, is their starter watch. I think genuinely they'll be there, and they've signed not even that many players, but the EFL experience is there again. Brandon Horton and John Bellahoon from Gateshead, Debem Eze on loan from Bolton Wanderers, Oliver Irving from Leicester, Billy Chadwick on loan from York. And they haven't really lost many players either. Michael Kelly's left, Finlay Shrimpton, Sam Fishburne, Michael Clunan, and Ross Fitzsimmons. So I genuinely think Scunthorpe will be sound. This one's definitely going to surprise a lot of people. In 6th, I've gone for Yeovil. I genuinely think Yeovil will have a really, really good season. Why, I don't know. But I just genuinely think they will. And they haven't even signed players. All they brought in is Tavon Campbell, Kyle Ferguson and James Daly. 3 players to what I think is an alright decent squad. And I genuinely think Yeovil are going to have a good season to the point where they'll be away in the first round of the playoffs. Who will they be playing though? 5th place, I've gone for Altrincham. I think there's a case where they could do poorly. There's a case where I think they could do really well. Their starter watch is their brand new summer signing, Keaton Ward, and they've signed some absolute ringers. Billy Sass-Davis, James Gale, Jimmy Knowles, Sam Reed, Luke Hutchinson on loan from Bolton, Charlie Kirk from Barrow. I mean, that is top quality business from Altrincham. And yeah, they've lost some big boys. Justin Amulezer's gone to Grimsby. Alex Newby's gone to York. Matt Penny, James Jones, and obviously Regan Linney. Alty have lost big players, but have also brought in some absolute stalwarts. 4th place in the National League this season. I'm sorry, Carlisle fans. Yous aren't winning the league. I've gone for 4th for Carlisle United. The new boys, I definitely think they'll finish top 4. I don't think they'll be anywhere near the title though. As I think everyone can now guess who's going to be there. Home advantage in the playoffs. A game with Scunthorpe. Stephen Wern, I think, is going to have a really good season. And I mean, this just gets silly when you look at who Carlisle have brought in over the summer. Obviously, Regan Linney, David Adjaboy, Sam Murray, Junior Lawamba, Morgan Feeney, Josh Grant, and Bevis Mugabe are all really good signings. And they haven't really lost much talent leaving. Matthew Dennis maybe is a big one. Taylor Charters is a great player. I'm surprised to see he's moved on. Will Patchin, Ben Barclay, Callum Anthony Guy, Anton Dudick. And the 2 big ones to me are Kadeem Harris to Salford and Samuel Lavelle to Grimsby. I think Carlisle will be there, will be in and around it, will be fine. 3rd place, we're nearly there, people. I've rambled on for so long. But 3rd place, I am going for Southend United. Just missed out on promotion at Wembley. Could the second time be the charm? I think they'll have a really good season in all fairness. And a top 3 finish is definitely the aim for Kevin Maher. And I do think they'll be there without a shadow of a doubt. Gus Scott Morris is obviously the starter watch if he doesn't leave. And they haven't really strengthened the squad. Nathan Harness, Slavi Spasov, Sam Austin, Harry Boyce and Ben Goodliff are all really decent signings. Not screaming out the world, but they've only lost 2 people, and that's Jack Wood and Danny Waldron to Walton and Hersham and Brackley. I genuinely think it's there for Southend to be 3rd. 2nd place then is Rochdale. They'll be exceptional all year in my opinion, but they'll just fall short near the end. They've got so many stars to watch this season, it's ridiculous. Devante Rodney, Manny Di Saruwe, David Tatonda. The list goes on. Levi Amanchai, Casey Petit, Oliver Watmuff. And then they've still brought in many players. Bryce Osana, Dan Moss, Anthony Mancini, Liam Humbles. The list goes on. And they haven't even lost anybody, really. Kyle Ferguson to Yeovil, Cairo Mitchell to Forest Green, Charlie Weston and Finlay Armstrong. So Rochdale, I don't think yous have got anything to worry about. I think yous will be there. But if they don't win the league, I think it'll be the biggest surprise in National League history, possibly compared to the season when Chesterfield absolutely blindsided the league. They genuinely should walk it, and that is York City. Adam Hinchelwood not just is an unbelievable manager, he knows what to do. And I've left starter watch blank because the entire York team is a starter watch. It is an absolute joke of a super team. And you look at who they've brought in. Ollie Banks from Chesterfield, Alex Newby from Altrincham, Ash Palmer from Chesterfield, Mark Kitchen from Oldham, Haram Boateng from Mansfield, Ben Brooks from Maidstone, Joe Gray from Hartlepool, Greg Ollie from Gateshead. That hurts to say. And then, have they lost really any big talent? Maybe Dippo Akinyemi, Linnell John Lewis, Cam John. Not really. I genuinely think York are going to walk it with all fucking 19, 20, 25, 30 stars to watch this season. If they don't walk the league, people, I genuinely think it will be one of the biggest shocks in National League football. But yeah, 35 minutes of me rambling. There is my full predictions of the National League. So I'll go through it again very quickly. I have Morecambe to finish bottom with the crisis they're in. I feel absolutely awful for them. Going down with them, Wealdstone, Braintree Town and Brackley Town. Truro City 20th. Boston United 19th. 18th for Boreham Wood. 17th for Aldershot Town. 16th for FC Halifax Town. 15th for Gateshead. 14th for Woking. 13th for Solihull Moors. 12th for Hartlepool United. 11th for Forest Green Rovers. 10th for Tamworth. 9th for Sutton. 8th for Eastleigh. 7th for Scunthorpe. 6th for Yeovil. 5th for Altrincham. 4th for Carlisle. 3rd for Southend. 2nd for Rochdale. And my National League champions this season are York City. So there you go. Let me know your predictions down below. Who's going to win the league? Who's going to shock you? Where's Gateshead going to end up? Who honestly knows? But we're a week away. One more friendly for Gateshead tomorrow, which will be at Darlington. Blackwell Meadows, 3 o'clock. We'll be there. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss that video and lots more football content across the season. Thanks for all the support recently. I very much appreciate it. We're on the grind. We're on the up, and I am absolutely loving life at this point. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and until tomorrow, I'll leave you with the outro. Catch you in a bit, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.